Hi everyone. So what I want to show you today is how to set up your lockdown browser for a Canvas quiz and your lockdown browser with using webcam monitoring as well. So what I've done is I've got a few quizzes that I have here, and we're going to use those to set these up. So the first thing I want to do is go to lockdown browser. About lockdown browser, this will pop up, and unless you click don't show this page again, it will continue to come back. If you click that and then you click the continue to lockdown browser, you won't see it again. Now what you see here is various options. So we have two options. We have lockdown browser and we have webcam Respondus monitor. So you notice this list here takes me through which ones have required lockdown browser. And then we have which ones have required Respondus monitor. Ignore my quiz 4 with my error. That's something I have to go in and fix later. Now, you can have both required, or you can just have the lockdown browser required without the webcam monitoring. However, you can see here with my error, I have the Respondus monitor required, but I have an error in my lockdown browser, so this isn't going to work. You have to use lockdown browser if you want to use the Respondus monitor. So we're going to go into quiz 2 so that we can try to set this up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to require the lockdown browser. Now when I require the lockdown browser, one of the things that you want to go ahead and do is click Advanced Settings so that you can click this box right here, allow students to take this exam with an iPad. So they can download the lockdown browser app from the Apple Store, and that will allow them to take the quiz or exam on their iPad. It just kind of opens up more opportunities for them to be able to access it. Now we're going to set up our webcam monitoring. So we're going to require the Respondus monitoring. And click Continue. And we're going to go through a series in your startup sequence. So this is what will happen at the very beginning of the quiz, the monitor session. And you can check mark things you do want them to do or you don't want them to do. So webcam check, it will do no matter what. Facial detection will do no matter what. The rest of these you can pick and choose, and you can edit some of them. So for instance, additional instructions, I can edit. So this says during this exam you shouldn't access other resources, a phone, tablet, notes, books, etc. But for instance, maybe you wanted them to be able to use their notes. So you may put in here during this exam, you are not allowed to access anything else but your notes. Or if you're a math teacher, but your calculator. So those are things that you can adjust in here and then save and close. Same thing, guidelines and tips. We could just take that out. Student photo, they will take a photo of the student showing their ID. Environment check, making sure there's nothing around that is inappropriate. Facial detection options prevent students from starting until if the face cannot be detected. I always leave these as our default. And then what we can do, there are advanced settings. So allowing another application to use the microphone, make webcam videos additionally available. So if there's things that you want to have happen, you can make those happen there. I've never used them. I've never clicked on, I never changed my facial detection options either. And then we're going to hit Save and Close. There we go. So now what we can see for quiz 2, it's changed its name. It's now added requires Respondus lockdown browser and webcam. So it tells right in the title of the quiz now what is required. And you can see over here that both Lockdown Browser says required and Respondus Monitor says required. Now, say for instance, you want to use the Lockdown Browser, but you have students that don't have the ability to use the Respondus Monitor webcam, or you decide not to use the webcam. What you can do is just allow or just require the Lockdown Browser. Again, making sure we allow that they can use the iPad. And then we can just not require. So now what you see for quiz 3, it only says requires Respondus Lockdown Browser. That is, the browser is required, but the webcam is not. So those are the two options. Now, there's actually a third option. Which is requiring either the Respondus Monitor or a proctored lab. So either they have to go through this sequence, or what you do is you can do a passcode. So that is where you would set up what the proctor would need. So an access code must be used with the exam, and you will need to provide the access code to the proctor. So you would need the access code would be required here, and then you could give that to a testing center proctor to be able to access the exam without having to use the webcam.